Dipping through my pastime, dipping through my pastime.
I'm Matt Cinnamon, this is my co-host Brett Marcus, and we're here live for Jew Bowl Draft 12. Brett, how does it feel to be here?
It's a dream come true. Our league has come a long way from Devin's family room with the giraffes in it.
Yes, I remember that draft really well. Well, Brett, we've got a lot of really exciting stories this year. Me personally, I'm most excited to get Josh in here and interview him about how he managed to finagle his way into getting the first, second, and fourth pick. What are you most excited about today, Brett?
I'm most excited to see who's going to bid on Plaxico Burress. He's been apart from my team for 2 long years. I want him back. He wants to come back. And now we're going to see which asshole is going to try to take him from me.
And this is a late-breaking development. Brett has actually decided that he's going to announce his bid for Plaxico Burress on the air in this pre-draft show tonight. Now, we're going to be here leading you up straight up into the action, but right now we're going to cut to our first commercial break. When we come back, we'll be interviewing Commissioner Sean Altschuler on independent defensive players. And we're back from the Waldorf Astoria at Jew Bowl Draft 12, and to my right we have Commissioner Sean Altschuler, who's here to discuss the latest and probably biggest league development in years, the introduction of individual defensive players. Sean, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty damn well, man.
And how does it feel to be bringing such a monumental change in, only your second or third year as commissioner in the Jew Bowl?
It's been a long time coming. I think Brett can attest to the fact that we've needed defensive players in the Jew Bowl for quite some time now, and it's good to see that everyone is ready to take the leap of faith.
Fascinating stuff. Now, Sean, the league decided this year that we were only going to have 3 individual defensive players.
Yeah.
Do you see this as a long-term solution, or do you think perhaps the league will grow out to include maybe 4, 5, or 6 defensive starters in the future?
I don't know.
I know for my money, I would like to field a full defensive squad. We've got these really great historic offensive lineups, and I want to see my 2 linebackers, my 2 defensive backs, and my 2 down linemen lining up against Brett's starting offense.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have Ed Reed, Nnamdi Asomugha, Ray Lewis, DeMarcus Ware, all these guys
Did you just expose your
on the
draft
field
board?
together.
Was that your whole draft board you just exposed?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if this is a coincidence or not, but it just so happens that the year that Sean brings us individual defensive players, he also ends up with the first pick in the draft. Sean, can you please explain for the audience at home how the draft order was decided for this draft?
Yeah, I wrote the names of everyone on a napkin, and I ripped the napkin into 10 individual pieces and put them in a hat. And some girl picked them out, right? One after the other.
That's
all
about
10
as
of
fair
them.
as it can get.
And
Do you think it's strange? Do you think it's strange not only that people from the audience are trying to ask questions, but do you think it's strange that most of the people who were not in attendance for the draft lottery ended up towards the back of the draft?
Yeah.
Do you see any conflict there at all?
right.
I see a little bit of conflict. I was at the draft lottery and wasn't pleased with where I was selected, but I know the people that weren't there probably were less pleased than I am, especially since they didn't get to witness it, but I can assure you that it was, like everything that Jew Bowl does, first class and legitimate.
Thanks, Brett. Now, Sean, before we cut back to break, I just wanted to ask you, with the millions of fans watching at home, have you decided who you're going to take with that first pick?
In the defensive draft, I'll save that. I'll save the announcement.
Great.
I have a
Always a man for drama. Remember, viewers at home, if you want to ask questions to Sean or anyone here at the pregame staff, just tweet your questions. Don't forget #JewBowl, and we'll be responding live on air. Take us away. And we're back once again from the Waldorf Astoria. Now, to my right, we have the only 3-time champion in Jew Bowl history, Kid Lucid. Kid, does it stay as sweet the 3rd time?
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this season, because it was a little bit different than years past. You know, you've been a favorite in the Jew Bowl for quite some time, but you know, this year you really came in. The preseason predictions had you near the bottom. Las Vegas counted you out this past year. What were you able to do to rally your team together and take home your third Jew Bowl?
Well, I think it had a lot to do with it. We had a lot of faith in ourselves, and I think we know. We know.
Would you call it spiritual self-confidence?
Yeah, that's what I would call it.
Interesting.
You were in a bit of an unusual place when you won the Jew Bowl. Would you describe your surroundings and the emotions you felt when you finally accomplished the ultimate goal?
Yeah, well, I was in Israel with Tyler and me.
And then,
Yeah,
Now, is it true that Tyler didn't even watch the final?
that's true.
Yeah.
what was he doing instead?
I don't remember. Nothing. I don't know. Partying, maybe. I don't know.
Now, Kid Lucid,
I think he knew. He knew.
you've had you made some pretty serious off-season moves with the release of veterans Terrell Owens and Carson Palmer.
Mhm.
How do you think that lack of veteran leadership in the locker room is going to affect your squad?
Well, I don't think that's going to be an issue because Carson is still staying around the team. He's going to be developing. Him and Tim Tebow have developed a really nice relationship, and Carson's actually been mentoring him, so he's going to stick around. And T.O., we've had our discussions, and he came for what he needed to do. He wanted to win a championship, and he came and we did that together. So I'm good with T.O. But as far as the veteran leadership, we still have a lot of guys around. Randy Moss is still on the squad. LT, and Aaron Rodgers is already a veteran. So
Have you spoken to Randy Moss since the retirement announcement?
yeah.
And what did he say about it?
Well, actually, that was a decision that I made with Randy, and we thought it would be better off for him to hold out. And a lot of people are talking about him right now, so I think it's good. It's good for his.
Now, Brett, as a member of the Sephardic Conference, you face Kid Lucid 2 times a year. What's it like going up against a 3-time defending champion?
It's pretty daunting. It's pretty daunting. He's got a pedigree that no one else in the league has, which is intimidating, especially on the road. But we've done battle many times in the past, and my team doesn't scare easily.
Yeah, I remember in my conference, we had a similar juggernaut, Neil. Now, Neil was coming off of 2 straight championships in a row, and he had Adrian Peterson, Roddy White, Dallas Clark, superstars galore. A very intimidating lineup, and Andre Johnson, of course. Who can forget Andre Johnson? But I remember looking my men in the eye in the locker room before we took the field for that playoff game, and it was like they were taking that fear and turning it into opportunity. And I think they really seized the moment. And I think when you're taking on an established team like Kid Lucid or like Neil, it's all about seizing the moment. Wouldn't you say so, Brett?
Absolutely. In the Jew Bowl, if your team doesn't get up for the big games, you're in the wrong league.
Yeah, I agree. Now, before we cut back to commercial, Kid Lucid, why don't you tell us a little bit about the history of your name, Get Out of My Way, and its evolution to Stay Out of My Way?
Well, you hit it right on the nail when you said spiritual self-confidence. The name actually came about during a evening festivity at the Reverend in Union Pool, which many in the Jew Bowl can attest to. And we'll be going there tomorrow night to see him. So he will be playing the song that inspired the team name Get Out of My Way.
That's Union Pool on Union and Meeker in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and the whole Jew Bowl crew will be there at 11 p.m. And welcome back once again. Now our next guest is our draft extraordinaire, Josh Hochberg, who managed to get the 1st, 2nd, and 4th pick in this year's first round. But before we get to Josh, we have a question from @Alexander Skolnick from my co-host Brett Marcus. Brett, Alexander Skolnick wants to know, in your opinion, who is the best Jew Bowl player of all time?
There's a lot of guys that come to mind. If you're asking me, I'm a bit biased. I'm going to say Peyton Manning. He's had that most points in a season, the most points in a single game, 2 Jew Bowl championships, multiple Jew Bowl MVPs, but that's open to interpretation. Some could argue LaDainian Tomlinson or Priest Holmes, or even go back further in the past, your very own Marshall Faulk.
Yeah, if I was going to answer the question, I would have to go with Marshall Faulk. His statistics were just as impressive as Peyton Manning, but in my opinion, fantasy football is not about the statistics. It's about the leadership you bring to your team. And I remember a few years back when Torrey Holt was injured, Torrey Holt was injured on the ground, and the Rams would have had to forfeit a timeout if they would have called an injury timeout. And Marshall Faulk literally lifted Torrey Holt and brought him off the field. And when I saw that, I knew that that man was a superstar and a leader. Josh, what about you?
I just find it very interesting that both of you pick players from your own respective teams.
Well,
with that being said,
anyone who's familiar with the Jew Bowl knows there's a bit of a hometown
a little bit
bias.
of favoritism, but both those players were great players. A few interesting choices was Ian picking up Marcus Colson and playing him at tight end. That was one of the best seasons by an individual player of all time. Probably
Absolutely.
is wearing the jersey right now. And right now, there's an up-and-comer. His name's Jamal Charles.
Oh, Jamal Charles, I believe he is on your squad.
With 3 ends.
And just to illustrate, guys,
Jay Swag.
just to illustrate the way that the Jew Bowl works, Josh, who do you think is going to win the Jew Bowl this year?
It's a very tough choice. There's a lot of very good owners in this league.
But just give us an answer, because we're running out of
I'm
time.
going to have to say MJD and his team of heroes will take home the championship this year.
And that's you. Brett, who's your projection?
Godzilla the King.
And that's you, and I am going to go with me. Now,
Very interesting.
Let's get to the reason why we're here. Josh,
Yeah.
how on earth did you end up with the first, second, and fourth pick in the draft?
It's a pretty simple formula. Basically, there's a lot of guys in our league who get overly anxious in upgrading their squads and target certain players that might be one-hit wonders or just aren't what they're all hyped up to be. And so you just have to target those anxious players and bait them with their first-round draft picks when you know that their teams are terrible. For instance, Sean, who's been a bottom dweller for the past few years, and Devin, who has been a bottom dweller almost the entire time I've been at the Jew Bowl.
Now, Devin has been to 2 Jew Bowl championships, right?
Is it 2? I think it's 1.
I think he has 1 conference championship. 2.
Well,
Our producer's telling us 2.
either way, Josh, with basically all the eggs in your basket, what are you planning on doing with this draft?
First, I have 6 picks in the first 21 selections. So with 6 picks, you're only supposed to be drafting 4. There's only 4 rounds, but I accumulated all these great picks. So first, I would like to force Brett's hand on making him use a high draft pick for Plaxico.
Oh, interesting. Now, before we get more into that, Brett, would you like to explain the Plaxico situation to us and the rule decision that we made?
Sure. As most of you are well aware, Plaxico Burris, one of the great leaders of my team, a 2-time Jew Bowl champion, a guy I've had for 8 seasons now, was incarcerated 2 years ago for a senseless crime,
He shot himself in the leg.
allegedly.
When his gun fell out of his sweatpants
Allegedly.
at a nightclub.
Smart guy.
How he got into a nightclub in sweatpants is beyond me, but anyway.
Continuing, so I was not happy with the decision to take Plaxico off of my team. I felt we had spent a lot of time together and won a lot of games together, and I had every right to reclaim him when he came out of jail because it wasn't my choice for him to leave my roster. Unfortunately, my Jew Bowl colleagues didn't feel exactly the same way, so I proposed a rule, a bit of a restricted free agency, if you will, where before the draft, when a player has re-entered the league after being out of the NFL and the Jew Bowl for 1 or more seasons, at Plaxico case he was at 2, everyone in the league, other than the original owner, myself in this case, gets to bid a draft choice on that player. And then the original owner, myself here, gets to choose to beat that draft pick. And if I choose to beat the pick that they bid, I reclaim him with my own pick. And if I choose to decline, then they must claim him with the bid that they made.
Interesting. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Where is Plaxico Burris going? Gentlemen?
You have the high bid?
Yeah. You get to,
What pick are you bidding?
the pick that I'll be bidding for my newest wide receiver, Plaxico Burris, is choice number 15.
And after a long, hard summer, a summer of many deep nights and long conversations and many tears, it is with great regret that I am informing the world that I will not be bringing Plaxico Burris back to my team. I want to thank him for his years of service and let him know that when he retires, there will always be a position in my team's front office for him. And I love you, Plaxico. I'm sorry.
Well, there you have it. Does the drama get any greater? That's all for us here at the Jew Bowl 12 pregame show. I'd like to thank all of my guests. And remember, you can catch the live draft on our website, jubal.com, and don't ever hesitate in sending your questions in to #Jubal. Now, Brett, Josh, and all of those involved, I must say that this has been one of the most memorable and best Jubal pre-draft, pre-game shows that I've been a part of, and I'm really excited to see
Just have one last comment.
Yeah.
Just wanna welcome Plaxico Burris to the Dream Team. Looking forward to a great season, Plax. See you out there, buddy. Guns allowed.
And with that, we'll bring you to Commissioner Sean.